One of the most overused words in social media today is the word narcissist. And narcissist is a word that we actually need to be much more cautious of using in terms to diagnose somebody's behavior. A person simply just being selfish, manipulative, or difficult does not automatically mean that they have narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissists definitely exist on a specific spectrum. Some people do have narcissistic traits, but a much smaller number actually meets the clinical criteria, and which also can only be diagnosed by a qualified mental health professional. But speaking from somebody who has dealt with a narcissist, I am going to give you 5 things to look out for in order for you to simply see, okay, this is not good, and take the necessary steps to protect yourself from this person. So, sign number 1, everything always revolves around them. One of the biggest signs is that every single conversation you have with this person always seems to come back to them. Maybe you are telling them about a promotion you got at work, but instead of them celebrating you like a normal person, they will start talking about things that they recently, or even not recently, achieved in their lives. Or you tell them how bad of a day you had, or it was a very difficult day for you, and suddenly they had a much worse day than you had. Remember that any healthy relationship that you have is a give and take scenario, but somebody with very strong narcissistic tendencies often struggle to genuinely celebrate other people unless it benefits them directly. They don't just want attention, they actually physically need it. Sign number 2, they lack empathy. Empathy isn't just saying, oh, I'm sorry that happened. It's about genuinely caring how the other person feels. Someone with narcissistic traits may understand intellectually that you are upset, but emotionally they won't care unless your emotions directly affect them. For example, you will tell them something that hurt your feelings, and instead of them saying, I didn't realize, I'm sorry, they might say something like, you are way too sensitive, you are overreacting, or I don't remember doing that, or saying that didn't happen. And in them doing that, you will see that the focus immediately switches off of your feelings or emotions and more into a blame pattern. Sign 3, they manipulate instead of communicate. This could look like guilt tripping, silent treatment, love bombing, making you feel responsible for their emotions. You start questioning yourself. You apologize for things you didn't even do, and it's not a healthy type of conflict. They want control over you. Sign number 4, they have trouble with taking accountability. Nothing is ever their fault. It is, they would always come up with an excuse to justify whatever behavior. So they would say, oh, I had a rough childhood, a loss in their life. You are the problem, society, religion, stress, bad timing, literally anyone or anything except themselves. People that are healthy and have healthy mindsets and regulate their emotions well and also know themselves well have no trouble with admitting and saying like, sorry, I was wrong. But somebody with these strong narcissistic traits often protect their ego at all costs, because admitting faults to them feel like they are admitting to being weak. Sign number 5, they constantly need admiration. This goes way beyond just enjoying like the simple compliments. Most of us as people like to be appreciated. That is completely normal. The difference is needing constant validation to feel okay. They may fish for compliments, exaggerate their achievement, become jealous when somebody else is getting attention, become very defensive when they are criticized, and feel entitled to special treatment. When they aren't the center of attention, they may become angry, irritated, or completely withdraw from the situation. I do want to stress something very important. Somebody displaying simply one or two of these behaviors does not automatically make them a narcissist. People can become defensive when they are also insecure. People can also be very manipulative if they grew up learning very unhealthy coping mechanisms. People can also struggle with empathy when they are emotionally immature. Labels aren't as important as patterns, because narcissists have this in their personality, like it's who they are in every single situation. Other people will just have one or two instances where they act out. Now, for the most important part of the video, how do you actually handle narcissists? You need to stop expecting them to change. And this one was something I had to learn a very, very hard way. You cannot love somebody into becoming self-aware, and you also can't argue somebody into being empathetic, and you absolutely cannot heal someone who doesn't think that their behavior is affecting anybody in a negative way. You need to start setting boundaries and keep them. Your boundary is only going to work when it is being enforced. A boundary isn't please don't do that. It's saying that if you continue doing that, I'm going to leave the conversation, leave your life, leave whatever. And this one is important for controlling your behavior, not theirs. Do not allow yourself to be pulled into every single argument. People who thrive on control often thrive on your emotional reaction. And honestly, in a lot of cases, the healthier option for you isn't winning the argument. It's just refusing to participate in the reaction they are looking for. So you can just say, I'm not discussing this while we are both being emotional. I don't agree, and that's okay. I've honestly reached that point in my life because I'm a very argumentative person, and I've reached that point where if you think you are right and you want to continue to try and press your belief or whatever it is onto me, I'm just simply going to say, okay, you are right. Just leave me alone, please. Because they want you to get upset, angry, argue back with them, because it's literally like pouring oil on a fire, and they are just going to keep on going, and it's gonna leave you drained at the end of the day, and you're gonna be like, what was this for? Like, what was this argument? Because half of the time it's not even about things that actually matter that much, and dealing with them sometimes can make you feel like an insane person, because you're like, are you seriously like thinking that way? Are you arguing that way? Can you not see my point? Can you not feel how I am feeling? Can you not see? And the thing that you need to realize is that they don't resonate because their brains don't think like yours. And honestly, I do think one of the biggest mistakes that we all make is becoming so obsessed with trying to figure out what is wrong with the people that act this way. But what you actually should be doing is focusing on yourself. If these people are making you feel like you are starting to doubt yourself, feel disrespected, feel out of place, confused, guilty, and you literally didn't do anything, you honestly don't need to sit around and wait for somebody to diagnose someone with something to notice that somebody's behavior is unhealthy. Protecting your peace and removing yourself does not require somebody else's permission. And please remember, you are not Bob the Builder. You were not placed on earth to fix everybody else, fight, stick around with them while they figure out themselves and their problems. That's not your job. Get away from the narcissists, the manipulators and everything, and trust me, your life will be much better.